Sound check 1 2 1 2. Sound check 1 2 1 2. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I see you in the background, Traveling Tony. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Then we're gonna get to cooking. All right, cool. All right, let me fade out the intro. All right. Man, welcome to Afro Sundays. The boy No Excuse is live in Tanzania or Tanzania, whichever way you prefer to pronounce it. So I'm going to have with me in the background that's coming up, Traveling Tony. Then also streaming on his channel is GMT Travels. So we're all going to chime in on the discussion. So before I bring up Traveling Tony, I just kind of want to give out kind of my perspective on Uganda. I just recently got back from Uganda, and I'm currently in Tanzania, which is my day 2 in Tanzania. So Traveling Tony lives in Tanzania. He spent a lot of time in Uganda as well. So we're just going to kind of do a compare and contrast, from a short-term traveler point of view and experience versus, an expat. So I want to start off talking about Uganda. And I'm going to, let me see, maybe I should bring Tony up just in case he wants to interject. Bring him up 1 second. Bring him up. So I want to make myself a little bigger. Let me see how I do that. All right, I'll play around with that later. All right, that's cool. All right, so I want to talk about Uganda, and then I'll talk about Tanzania. I got some notes. So I will say this. A lot of people were against me traveling to Uganda. There was a lot of, I would say, negative criticism about Uganda. But, me being me, I did my research, did my due diligence, did my pipelining. And I'm going to be honest, man, like I actually ended up having a good time in Uganda. Now, the two areas that I focused on was Kampala, and then right outside Kampala is Entebbe, which is where the airport is. So I just kind of got some notes. So a lot of people talked about, infrastructure, potholes and things of that nature. Now, in my opinion, I ain't gonna say my opinion. From my experience, being on the ground, like it wasn't as bad as people made it out. Like I live in Philadelphia, it's hella potholes to the point where it destroyed one of my cars, just the suspensions. The potholes are so bad in Philly. And I know the potholes is bad in a lot of cities, especially cities where there's winters. And so I just really didn't see. Young Villain, what up? I'm gonna answer your question. So as far as like the roads and potholes, like I just felt like if you've been to countries like Colombia, like I've been to a lot of cities like Cartagena, once you get outside like the tourist areas and like into the barrios or neighborhoods, I mean, you're gonna be on dirt roads a lot of times, especially in these quote unquote third world countries, DR too. So I don't know why people kind of made a big deal on the roads when if guys travel extensively through Latin America, it's the same damn thing. So I just wanted to talk about that. Now, I will say Uganda is very dusty. It's a lot of dirt soil on the pavement. So I fell in wearing some white shoes. My shit was fucked up. The moment I stepped off the plane. So do not wear white shoes. Wear some shoes that I wore some like dress, like kind of dress boots, because they're easy to clean and things of that nature. So sneakers will get fucked up in Uganda, just a FYI. There is, they do have rain seasons. I caught it at the end of rain season in December, but November it does rain a lot. These are just some little tidbit notes. If you go to Uganda or even South Africa, they do use different wall outlets. So just be mindful that you might have to purchase a wall outlet once you get at the airport. And whether it's Tanzania, Uganda, or any other country, the airport should be able to provide you with most things you would need for your trip. So usually when I arrive into a country, the first thing I'll do is buy a SIM card. I bring an extra phone that's unlocked. So I just buy a SIM card, get enough data that I think I may need, and just pop the SIM card in, and I'm good. So after I get my SIM card, I go to an ATM, get a decent amount of cash out the ATM. And then if these countries have a different wall outlet, usually they have stores within the airport that you could buy that from too. So so when you get off the plane, you could check everything off at the airport, so you don't have to be running around doing all those things. So another thing about Uganda, which is a plus, is that the weather is pretty good. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. It was very, very pleasant. So I was kind of surprised by that. So I do give it a thumbs up for the weather. There's a lot of parts of Uganda or Kampala, the landscape, they have beautiful areas where you can see like the landscape. So I think they have a lot of greenery. There's different parts of the city where you can get some great views of Uganda. So you could definitely get some pictures. One thing I did notice that I didn't know is that Uganda has a large Indian presence. South Africa has the largest Indian population outside India, but I didn't know how much influence and people that are from India or Indian descent in Uganda. So they have a long history in Uganda, which kind of surprised me because India is where India is, so you got to go past Ethiopia, Tanzania, the Horn to get to Uganda. So I'm just curious what made Indians, land in Uganda. Something that surprised me, and maybe Traveling Tony, maybe this exists in Tanzania. I haven't seen it yet, but even in South Africa and in Uganda, I noticed that there was a lot of males doing like nail techs. I went to get a pedicure, manicure, and men are doing it, which was kind of surprising, but maybe that's just the job opportunities, or maybe that's just the American mindset of us putting genders in particular roles. Something that I don't want to make too much attention to, but I did notice in Uganda. So in the United States, a lot of times when you in public places or in restaurants, and you go to the bathroom, typically bathrooms are set up where ladies first, men second, when you're approaching the bathroom. And I don't know, this just kind of caught me. I just kind of noticed it when I was in Uganda. It was a lot of men. The men's restroom was first, and the women's was second. So I kind of thought that was kind of an observation I made. Let's see. Uganda is definitely a black country. When I say black, I mean like dark skin. It is definitely a dark skinned country. If you light skin in Uganda, you definitely are gonna feel like, man, I'm outnumbered. Like obviously I didn't feel, I felt normal, but it is. I don't even think I've seen like a light skinned man, and if I did, maybe it was one, and they was probably more on a, the darker caramel complexion. But it is a dark skinned country, very very different than in Tanzania. And for some people, they may appreciate that. They may want to see just, a dark country like that. Uganda Airlines. So Uganda does have an airline. I don't believe Tanzania has an airline, or as of yet, but Uganda does have an airline. So I did fly nonstop. Okay.
Yeah, Rwanda too.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna mute you real quick just because it's a little static on your end. So I flew Uganda Airlines nonstop from South Africa to Uganda, which was good. The flight price wasn't too bad. It was about, between $250, $300 if you get it early. If you get it last minute, you're gonna be paying like $1,000. But I flew nonstop, and then I flew nonstop Uganda Airlines from Uganda to Tanzania. One thing happened on 2 occasions with Uganda Airlines that I did not like is that they had schedule changes, and I didn't get email notifications. I only noticed the schedule change when I checked in. So, luckily I checked in, I check in, early enough to see the change. But if you check in last minute, you could find out that your flight either was scheduled later or in my case, it was scheduled earlier. So, that's one thing that they got to get in line as far as notification. But yeah, if you fly Uganda Airlines, make sure you check in, 24 hours at that 24-hour mark, just so you can see if there's any schedule change. Getting out of Uganda was very hectic. I mean, I go to the airport. There's one check. Well, first of all, driving to the airport is one checkpoint. Get dropped at the airport, another checkpoint. Take my bags up. They got, dogs sniffing the bags. Fine. You go through that. Put your bags through through a scanner. Go through a metal detector. Then you go check in. Then after you check in, then you go scan again with your shoes off and all that. And then you finally could go to your gate. I was like, bro, this is like too much. I'm like, I would expect that for like the US or something like that. But maybe they have reasons to be so strict. But very hectic to get out of Uganda. So I'm gonna briefly just touch on things that I noticed in Tanzania. I cannot speak too much on it in depth, but I could just mention observations. One thing that I was surprised, and I kind of got some misinformation. So I got the East African visa, and so people were saying, yeah, get the East African visa. You could go in and out of East African countries. So I paid like $100 for the East African visa. So I thought I was good for Tanzania. And so when I got to passport control and they like, show us your visa, I'm showing them like the East African visa, and it's like, no, this isn't it. So I'm like, what's going on? So I'm like arguing, I'm heated, and then I called Tony. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And then he let me know that it's only for I got it through Uganda, so it's only for Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya. I didn't know that Tanzania wasn't included in that. So I end up having to pay $100 for the Tanzania visa, which is good for 12 months. But that was $100 that I just wasn't really planning on, spending. That was an unexpected expense. But I had to pay it to get it in. So once I got settled in, I went to this spot called Vuvi Kempo, and the food was good. A lot of people said this is a place to go, but I really didn't care for it. Once I started hearing the music, it was playing pretty much like American, rap, American music, pretty much music for tourists, right? And I'm like, man, no Afro beats, no piano, no African music. So I just felt like it put me in a bad space because I'm like, I come from South Africa where I'm hearing predominantly African music. I come from Uganda, pretty much predominantly hearing African music, and then I come to this fucking tourist restaurant. Good food, great food, but it's definitely a tourist spot. So it reminded me that the part of Dar es Salaam that I'm in and that most people travel to is touristy. Whether a lot of times when you go to cities in South Africa, like Cape Town is a tourist city, but it's not a tourist city that caters to tourists. If you know what I mean. They don't really play internet. They don't really get into international. They stick to kind of like South African things for the most part. Similar to New York City or any city in the United States. If you're a tourist going to the United City, New York is a tourist city. But if you go out in New York City, they're going to be playing American music. They're not going to be playing European music, or they're not going to be playing catering music, if that makes any sense. Now, I will say, overall, Tanzania does have better looking chicks. Now, Uganda has some beautiful women too, and I got a couple interviews with women, so those are going to be dropped on the channel. The receipts, I got the receipts. I got the receipts for Uganda, but Uganda does, their women are very voluptuous, thick. They do have a certain shape, certain things that's unique to Ugandan women. I won't get too specific, but there's certain things that's unique. But so far, the women overall, the women I've seen in Tanzania, they have a certain phenotype, they have a certain look. Like South Africa has a certain phenotype. Very weight proportionate, curvy, smooth skin. They got it. It'll take me a while to kind of really compare Tanzania to South Africa. It wouldn't be fair for me to just make any type of conclusions on that, but I will say that when it comes to physique, face, I'll definitely put Tanzania and South Africa over Uganda when it comes to that. Let's see what else I got. Pulling an 8 or plus is, I would say, you're more likely to pull an 8 or plus in Uganda than Tanzania, based on my brief, assessment. And it could be a lot of reasons. There's more money circulating in Tanzania. Women that are very attractive, they know what they can get. They know where to get it. A lot of 8s in Uganda, they just don't have access to maybe certain type of men as Tanzanian women do. So maybe you're more likely to pull an 8 or plus in Uganda. So I have the statement that it's not what you see, is what you can get. So in my opinion, it's like I can see all the beautiful women in Tanzania I want, but if I can't get them, and I could get an 8 or plus in Uganda where it's not as many, some may feel like I'm gonna go where I can get the 8 plus, not go where I could just see the A plus. If that makes any sense. What else I say? I would say for Tanzania, you definitely need more time if you're looking for traditional women, non-pros, whatever you want to call it. You will need more time. It's just, you know, what I mean, the online dating is full of pros or women that you're not. There's not a large on. There's not as large of online presence of Tanzanian women as it is Uganda women. So you're gonna have to be in Tanzania for a long time if you want to find regular women. In my opinion, Tanzanian chicks seem to be a little pickier. I get that impression. I can't make that conclusion, but that's an observation. When it comes to Nyash, butts, SATZ, SATZ, South Africa and TZ got it. They got it. Now I got a comment, but I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I'll put it like this: it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me coming from Uganda, where I had a lot of interactions, then going to a country where there's less interaction. Or going for a country where you don't have to pay to play versus going to a country where you don't have, like I said. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Had to switch to the phone Wi-Fi. Sorry about that. Let me know if I'm still good. Tony, if you there, if I cut out, just hop on the stream if I cut out. All right, cool. So where was I at? But yeah, it's just hard it's hard to go from a country where you don't have to pay to a country where you do have to pay, because now you're spoiled at this point. And Tony, unmute yourself if you're there. Now you spoiled. So that's the only thing about going from Uganda to Tanzania. So I got some other points, but I want to wait till I get Tony up. Let me send him a message on WhatsApp just to see if you're there. Let me see. I'm gonna go through the chat real quick. Let me go through the chat. Let's see. All right, Young Villain said earlier, which one has more lit nightlife? I haven't. I want to go to a local spot in Tanzania. I'm right now. I'm only experienced the tourist stuff, so I want to go to a local spot. But as far as more lit, I would probably give it to Tanzania only be two reasons. One, Kampala, Uganda is a very male dominated society. So in a lot of aspects, you're going to see more men out. And so for me, I don't care how like the vibe is. Like if it's just more men than women, for me, that's just not a good. For me, it's not a good vibe. Like I said, on average, Tanzanian women I find a little bit more attractive. So I would say more lit nightlife. I would probably give the edge to Tanzania. JC Travel Partners, what up? What's good? What's good? Let's see. Who is this? Kicks. Kaya. She said, I appreciate the breakdown. Very detailed. Appreciate that. Always in the building. Ronan Travelers. What's good, bro? Salute, salute. Let's see. Young Villain said that sucks, but at least they let you in. Yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed about that. Big Mike said, any intel on Djibouti women? No intel. I mean, I had an ex that was of Djibouti descent. It's just not a country that's really built for tourism. You know, I mean, obviously the women are beautiful, but you know, the country really isn't built for tourism like that. Ozzy, he said, I need slim thick. I definitely TZ got that. SA got that for sure. He said, what up? What up? Tony, no excuse. Was good. All right. Let's see. Diego, he said, evening all. How are you guys doing? Pretty good. Said, didn't know there was a live stream. Yes, sir. Big Bird, what's good? What's good, bro? Let's see. He said, let me see who else said something. He said, which country in Africa you don't have to pay for play? I don't think you have to pay. I think any country in Africa, you don't have to pay for play. I mean, if you're black, I mean, that gives you an advantage because, you know what I mean, they look at all blacks as we all of African descent. So not at all. I mean, if you're a guy that is comfortable approaching women, you don't have to look for pay for play. I would say pretty much at least most of the countries that guys, you know, visit, you don't really have to. Which country has better Wi-Fi? So far, I've had better internet in Uganda. And you know, I buy the best mobile service. Yeah, so just you know, I've had better Wi-Fi overall in Uganda. He said, "How Djibouti women look like, you know, Ethiopian, Habesha, Eritrean, like they have those features." He said, "Which one is better for online Tinder and day game?" I mean, Uganda is better for all the online dating. Like it is thousands of women on those dating sites compared to hundreds of women for Tanzania on the dating site. So, I mean, if you're on dating sites like Uganda is going to be, it's better online dating for sure. In person, Uganda is better too because women, women are, it's a cultural thing, right? I don't want to make it a personality. It's a cultural thing, right? Ugandans are more closer to West. I don't even want to say Western understanding. being approached by men does not make Ugandan women feel uncomfortable. I should say that. Some Tanzanian women, I don't even want to generalize like that. You're just going to get less no's in Uganda. I'm just going to say that. You're going to get rejected. You will get rejected more in Tanzania. That's basically how I can put that. Tanzania is a good place to find a wife. Based on what Africans say, yeah. Africans say East Africa. Africans say Tanzania is good to find a good wife. Africans say Uganda is. They put that over Kenya. If we're talking about, they put that over Kenya and Rwanda. If we're talking about East Africa, village women for a wife, prospects comparison between. I'll let Tony answer that. Let's see. He said greedy ass. All right, so it's the last comment, and then I'll continue. How do local men in Ethiopia feel about us talking to the women? Bro, like they don't notice, they don't notice it. I mean, we're not coming there in a million. You know what I mean? We're not coming there in a million. That's like asking me, how do I feel about Nigerian men marrying Black American women? Like, is negligible. Like, it happens. A lot of them marry some good Black women. How do I feel about it? Kudos to them. You know what I mean? It's still enough to go around. So why would you rather suggest Uganda or Tanzania for a non-African going to Africa for first time? I would say, I want to bring Tony. I would say that me and Tony are both travelers. Unmute yourself, Tony, if you connected. We're both heavy travelers. Hit up some of the same countries. We have different preferences. We're two different people. We have different personalities. We have common goals. So he's been to Uganda, Tanzania, and I'm going to throw South Africa, and he found Tanzania to fit more of what he's looking for. I've visited, now I can say I visited the same three, and South Africa fits me well. So I think the first time should be based on the information you get from guys talking about these countries, whether it's a type of woman, whether it's if you're interested in, buying land ownership, what you're comfortable with, if you're comfortable with language differences. It's so many different caveats to say which country you should visit. I'm visiting 3 countries in one trip. Some people can visit 2 countries. We got a homie out here. He went from South Africa to Tanzania. Changed his trip around, just like Tony did. You know what I mean? So I can't answer that question, what you should visit for the first time. I don't know. What you think, Tony?
I think Nairobi is a good place for beginners.
Okay.
But I do think Kampala might be easier to navigate than Dar es Salaam for short times. Because I'll talk on a short term basis, right? On a short term, yeah, you should probably go to Kampala. If you're gonna stay long term, then I'll give you Dar es Salaam.
Okay. See, I'm gonna say South Africa because that's a place where I feel like if you're interested in, freehold land ownership, that's one of the 4 countries in Africa where you can. So then also most from points of entry in Africa typically are through South Africa, or people fly Ethiopia Airlines. That's like the second most, and you're connecting through Ethiopia going to East Africa. So, and there's other airlines too, but depending on the airline, most people first point of contact to Africa is South Africa or Ethiopia. So if it's South Africa, you might as well, stay a few days before you connect to your next country. I think Kenya Airlines fly to the U.S. as well. So, that I guess that's another option if that's the case.
I think also people need to ask, like, what are they interested in? Are they looking for more conservatism, liberal countries? Like, what are you guys looking for? And then that's how you know where you're going to go, especially if you're looking to be a nomad. If you're looking to be a nomad, you got to have a checklist of what you want to have within the country, or you're not going to be happy.
Yeah. So Tony, I was kind of taking some notes and thinking about some things. And like I said, I need I'm really comparing cities and not countries to be fair, right?
Right.
I've only been in one city in Uganda and currently one city in Tanzania. And as we know, living in the United States or visiting Colombia, Brazil, we know cities are vastly different. You know what I mean? So I can't paint a whole brush on the country. But what I will say though is that if I'm looking at, I would probably like living in Uganda, but I think if I had to choose, I would probably like living in Uganda because it's not as much tourism. But I think I find the Tanzanian women overall, more attractive. I found parts of Uganda. So here's the thing with here's what I liked about Uganda. So Entebbe is where the airport is, and there's a big lake. There's a big lake in Uganda, and they have beaches. So a lot of people associate beaches with oceans, but lakes have beaches too. Just like I'm from Milwaukee, Chicago area. We're on Lake Michigan, and there's beaches in those cities. So the beach vibe, and I got some content I'm posting on that. The beach vibe was pretty dope. They had hookahs, music, lots of locals. Like the vibe was cool. Like I'm surprised a lot of people ain't really talked about the beaches of Uganda. But Kampala, the interior of Kampala, is just not. I just don't like that much. It's just very outdated. It's not as appealing. A lot of pretty dirty as far as like just soil everywhere. Not dirty like it's not dirty as in trash everywhere. It's just a lot of dirt and stuff on the roads and streets. So, but I would probably feel more comfortable living in Uganda because I see a lot of money in Tanzania. So if I live in Tanzania, I might feel the need to have the luxurious things I have in the United States and do there if I want to attract a very attractive woman. That's just my perception. So I'm not in the villages and things like that. I would have to visit more cities in Tanzania and Uganda. I'm curious on when Tony visits Arusha, like what's that's like. And then there's other cities in Uganda called Jinja where people where other people recommend it as well. So
talking about with a J, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a very tiny city though.
Okay.
I don't know. Like some people, like me, I'm only interested in living in places like that are like top 100 cities. I don't like the little cities, little amount of people for living. Vacation is cool, but after a month, you start seeing the same people over and over in the real small places. What I've seen, in my opinion, but it might be different for you. But it seems like you like smaller cities.
I mean, I like country. I can't use the word country because it doesn't translate to Africa. But I like Durban, for example. Like Durban is the second largest city in South Africa, but no, I just like non-tourist cities. I like non-tourist big cities.
Wait,
Or
Durban has more of a
yeah, I like
population than Cape Town?
non-tourist cities. Yeah,
I thought it was Joburg, Cape Town.
is small.
Oh, okay. I thought population wise.
No.
So, okay.
Within, so you got the city limits and then you got the metro area. So within the city limits of Cape Town, it's small. Now, if you go into Metro Cape Town, it's a little bigger. But then you go into Metro Durban, it's bigger too. But Johannesburg is definitely the largest city. But yeah, Durban is the second largest city. I'll post my channel link. Also, I just asked for it. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is just from being in relationships. I'm gonna use Cartagena for example. Some guys have dated women in like Rio de Janeiro. Okay. What about metro area? What about metropolitan area? Why is these? Just bear with me. I'm just trying to look for this link.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I remember looking all this up when I was finding my, because before I moved to a place, I always try to see how many people are there, how safe that shit is before I pull up.
All right, let me double check. Man, I hate when I log in and I got me doing this verification shit while I'm on a live stream. All right, so where am I? But yeah, being in Cartagena. So see, this is Dar es Salaam reminds me of what remind me of Cartagena, right? So you have Cartagena. I'm gonna use Cartagena is my comparison. You have a tourist city in a country with a not so great economy. A lot of the available jobs work revolves around these tourist cities, right? So if you got a girlfriend, wife, whatever, a lot of times the only options they see or hear about are options that work in the tourist sector, which means that they are working in restaurants, bars, maybe clubs, Airbnb hosts, temporary gigs, something revolving around tourism, which ultimately revolves around working around men. So when you have when you are dealing with women that work in tourist cities, Zanzibar would be another example, right? Especially if you in a long distance relationship, which Tony is against, you're gonna find if she has to work or wants to work, you're gonna be put in a precarious situation, especially if she's working in the tourist area. It's too much. One is potential temptation. Two, a lot of times women's standards get higher because they see how men spend money. They see how prostitutes get spent on. They see how women get spoiled too. So even if they're not bad girls or will engage in that, they still can come up with a certain level of entitlement. So, and then also it raises typically the cost of living in tourist cities is expensive. So I'm against tourist cities at this point. That's why I like Durban the most. And the weather is part of that as well. Uganda, even though it's not the most Kampala, even though it's not the most appealing, they don't have the entitlement is not there, with the women. I don't know what your thoughts on, the cons of being in a tourist city.
There's different types of tourist cities, though. This is not a tourist city like their economy comes or based around tourism. Though, so the economy for Tanzania is based around agriculture.
No, what about Dar? We're talking about Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, I'm saying, but even Dar es Salaam, it's not really tourist based that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really care about the tourists. The tourist is just a little sector. That's what Mr. G's seeing for itself, right? It's just a little sector. Outside of Dar es Salaam is the real Dar es Salaam. Outside of like Mikocheni is the real city. You go downtown, you got the big buildings, the businesses, the banks, and all that stuff. The main headquarters, Vatican. It's a lot of stuff there.
Now,
it's the main business hub. What are you saying?
Now, a female that doesn't have a college education, let's say she's high school education, she doesn't have a college education, she needs a job. She wants to get a job. If she could get a job within 30 days, what is the most likely opportunity she could get?
Well, there's so many different jobs. There's like jobs where people will hire you to do like washing of their clothes, working in Sinza. Sinza's a big place. There's Carrier Code. There's a lot of shops. There's so many different places you would work as a local making basic income. To work in these tourist places is kind of like a luxury. To go to like Mikocheni or Oyster Bay or whatever, it's like you got to know people to get there. But like the average person is going to work to like the outside, Sinza, places like that.
Okay. Now, if you're visiting Dar es Salaam and you're in the tourist areas and that's where you meet women, you're let's say women working at restaurants or working in an area, you meet them where, like the saying goes, you lose them where what's the saying? You lose them where you meet them. However the saying goes. And so when women only know one way of making money, let's say it's via tourism, then that's always going to be their comfort zone. So I get what you're saying. Like, there's women in other aspects of society, but the weekly 2-week traveler is pretty much going to be confined in the tourist area. So this is why I wanted to talk about the short-term experience versus the expat experience, and trying to meet women, regular women that's not associated with the tourism aspect of Dar es Salaam. How can guys do that? Can they do that in the short term, or do they have to be like you on the ground as an expat?
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked that question. You can do it in the short term, but it's not going to work out in the long term. And I'm not trying to downplay anybody's experiences or whatever, but even right now, G's wifed up with a beautiful Tanzanian girl that works a regular job. He met her at the supermarket. They're very approachable. He got a number. They're hanging out. He's having a good time. He really likes her. She comes from a decent home. She got a regular job, a regular girl. Took a few days for her to want to meet him. She's a very, very nice girl. I give him his props. She's a nice girl. So you can do that. It's just you can't expect sex right away. If you're cool with just talking to her for a couple of days, letting her get comfortable, cool. But if you're like, you need it now, then you're gonna have to deal with the pros.
Now, I'm gonna ask you well, I don't want to say personal question, but I'm gonna ask you a question, and you can decline the answer. We've traveled to places where you can get things pretty quickly and easily. Now, were you always okay with waiting
No,
if you had to wait?
no, I
Okay.
was not. I was okay. It took years of traveling for me to get to a point where I was sitting back and waiting, and so it depends how patient you are, though. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are more patient. Some people actually come in to sit back and enjoy. It just depends what you're looking for. Everybody's looking for different things. So if you want instant action, I would say Joburg, 100%. You hit the ground running, and Nairobi. You know what I'm saying? Hit the ground running. Go to the strip club.
So what's different? I guess
Mhm.
you can have instant action with a woman that could end up being your wife. You
You
know,
can. You can. It could happen, but I don't know. It could happen. You can take the chance. Go ahead. I mean, like
but I mean,
personally.
are you?
Hmm?
Uh,
No, I'm saying I'm
I'll
not
go.
against it. I'm just saying like it's just what you guys want to do. Like the girls that are usually just gonna go home with you right away, they do that with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So at least it's just like they say back in the day, she let you hit raw, she let everybody else hit raw. You ain't that special. You know what
True.
I'm saying? So like just have that shit in your head, you know what I'm saying? So it's better when they let you wait, like when they like really trying like they're obviously trying to get to know you, talk to you before they spend time with you because it shows their mindset. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in
But
a
I
hurry,
get.
you don't see it.
Why choose why choose Tanzania to be patient? Because you could be patient with a chick in Brazil or another country. Like why? What's so special about Tanzania where you decide, all right, I'm gonna wait. You
I
know,
think I think TZ and Uganda both they're gonna make you wait. Uganda, the good girls I met, they weren't with it right away. The girls from good homes, they'll make you wait. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just they want to go on dates and stuff like that before they want to get comfortable. The ones that are just instant action do that with everybody. So just keep that in
well,
mind.
but here's my thing though. It's not waiting. It's not waiting. If if I pipeline a woman, when I say pipeline, that means I got her number off a dating app, and we've been talking. If we've been talking for 2 or 3 months on WhatsApp, and we got a connection, and we at the point where we talking about sex, and we have sex our first interaction. Like I don't look at that as, or she doesn't even look at it as a one you know giving up on a first night, because we've basically been talking for all this time, even though we haven't physically been in person. So and and most guys that are traveling, they're going to be meeting women like that, so they're going to be talking for a period of time. So um
See, and that's why I don't agree with when you're in the States. Like when I'm in the States, I date in the States. Like when I'm overseas, I'm overseas. Especially if you're not coming back for like a year or you're gonna have. It makes no sense. It's illogical to me, in my opinion. But if I don't know, I've never did like whenever I went back to the States, I deleted my WhatsApp where I was done with it. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys do. It's a little different for me personally. So if it works, then it works. I can't speak on it. I can only say in-person interactions.
let me see. Ronald Traveler said, "No excuse, Tony. Why would you want a woman like that if you're truly looking for a long-term relationship, aka why? Don't you want an area like that because you know she not exposed to those things?" Yeah, I mean, I definitely. Two of my longest relationships was women that was virgins, right? It wasn't that I was looking for a virgin. It was just that I felt comfortable opening up to a woman that was a virgin. You know what I mean? So it does have weight, you know, but the women that was virgins gave it up. Gave it up just as quick as any other chick, though. You know what I mean? So it's hard to quantitate a woman with less miles, how fast she give it up, because a virgin could give it up fast to the right dude, and a chick with a lot of experience could make a dude wait longer. So it's not really black and white. It's not really black and white all the time.
But what type of chick is going to sit down for months and talk to a dude long distance where they could be dealing with people in person? That's what I wonder. Why is she living in her phone instead of being in person? Because that's not normal behavior, especially in these countries.
I mean, everybody can't live overseas.
No, I'm talking about for the women. I'm talking about not for the guys. I'm talking about for the women. Like, why are they doing that and not dealing with the dudes? I said dealing with dudes in their country. Why are they sitting around for months?
But you got to understand, like, there's dudes that live in the United States that don't have sex with women in the United States.
And what do you mean?
They don't deal with American women at all.
Yeah. I get why dudes are doing that. I agree 100%. But I'm saying, like, just have fun with it, Just don't have, like, crazy expectations. Go overseas, have fun. Don't try to be all, like, super serious right away. Just enjoy the country, you know what I'm saying? Make sure it's safe. Make sure where you're going is safe. And just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Don't make it all complicated. That's all I'm saying. Have fun, brothers. Enjoy your vacation. Yeah, man. Don't add no more complications to your life. That's what I'm saying for the brothers.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But I know the type of brothers I'm dealing with, man. And people want to have something that's theirs. They want that relationship. They want that woman. They can say that's my girl. They want to feel good about going to work every day and saving up for that trip. So there's a lot of things that keeps a guy motivated. Some guys might have been at a point of depression where you just don't know where they would have turned to, and you know what I mean. So I understand why guys are open to long distance and things of that nature. I understand why. Now I understand your point of view. Either is not, you have your reasons to, that you wouldn't do it, but I understand both. Diego says you cannot most times have the best sex and the best wife in one woman. That's true. Hypersexuality have messed up a lot of guys. Yes, that's very true. That is very true. That's a good point. Let's see. Ronan Traveler said, I think a lot of guys are still traveling with the mindset of mongering first. That's true. Not a great woman to date or some permanent. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why there's no motivation for a lot of guys to travel to Africa, because if it's just mongering or, pay for play, guys are gonna go to shorter distance, to do all that. So one thing I noticed, Tony, about Tanzania is that, man, it looks, I can't compare it to another place I've been to, right?
Middle
like
Eastern.
The people, very Middle Eastern, the people, like the dude, you can see it in the men. The men have a certain look. The women have a certain look. I see elements of me when I was in Ethiopia. I see elements I never seen before. Obviously, I'm not a Muslim, so seeing a large Islam culture, that's new. you know, and seeing that this is this is a melting pot, right? This is the melting pot. Like, all right, I don't want to sound well. I ain't worried about what I'm going to when I say that. When I'm in Uganda, right, as a black person, right, when I feel when I see Indians, Asians, white people in Uganda, right, I look at them as guests. I don't care how long they've been here. I look at them as guests in a black country, right? In Tanzania, when I see Arabs, pretty much non-black Africans, I feel like they are not guests. This is their country too. You know what I mean? And so it's like a melting pot. It's like a melting pot. And I haven't even been to. I'm going to Zanzibar, and I heard Zanzibar is even, you know, more heavily Islamic, or whatever the case may be. But it is very, very different. It made me feel like Ethiopia. It'll be hard. Like it'll be hard for me to date an Ethiopian woman. Well, I'll put it like this: it's already hard enough for me being with a Colombian and the cultural differences. What makes it easier is we have a lot of overlap in Western culture, but like Ethiopia, like it's so many layers I got to get through to understanding who this woman is.
Oh,
I
Mr.
just
G
feel
gonna
like it's
pull
too
up.
much. Oh, he could
Do
pull
that
up. Let me
right
drop the link.
Yeah,
Let me drop the link.
he can talk about
There's
his
so many.
experience.
There's so many elements to Ethiopian women. It's gonna be a lot of with Tanzanian culture too, because it is very different. It has so many layers, you know, and you know, big ups to Tony for marrying into Tanzanian culture and him living there. And I know it is a learning. I know it's a daily learning experience for him um, in Tanzania. Uh, Shout out to Ozzy. He said East Africa has a lot of Arab Indian influence. Not Ethiopia though. But some people don't consider Ethiopia East Africa, you know. Um, and sometimes we have to get out. And somebody corrected me. So we have to get out the mindset of giving credit to Arabs, other groups of people, saying we're like them. Sometimes we have to consider that they're like us, because Ethiopian culture resembles a lot of Middle Eastern things, but we can't have the mindset of that Middle East influenced Ethiopia. Ethiopia influenced the Middle East. but we don't have, you know what I mean? So we have to retrain ourselves, because a lot of credit can be attributed to original Africans. Rona Travis said, let's break it down to modernization, Wi-Fi, safety, infrastructure for both you. No excuse, Antonio. As far as let's say infrastructure, Tanzania has better infrastructure. I mean, the airport. It's a small airport, but it looks new. It's first class. The roads are better, cleaner in Tanzania. Definitely infrastructure. Tanzania got it. Safety. I think Tanzania is safer. Like I said, in Uganda, there's a lot of men out. A lot of people told me just be careful with my cell phone. Like I said, there's a lot of men out, at night out. Tanzania is pretty safe to walk around most part at night, some parts. So safety definitely is to Tanzania. Wi-Fi, so far Uganda had better, internet, at least from where I was at. Modernization, I would think that falls under infrastructure. Yeah, I guess I could give it to Dar es Salaam. So that's my point of view. Mr. G is in a building. You can unmute yourself, brother, if you ready to chime in, or if I need to unmute you.
Good evening, good afternoon. I mean,
Yo,
I
what
know
up,
people
G?
just what's up,
Yo,
man?
let them know the treatment and reception I gave you out here, yo.
Man, this brother right here, he really looked out for a brother. I mean, he's a fellow Air Force veteran like me, but it's not even about that though. As long as you got good spirit, you about positivity. I mean, he gonna mess with you though. He gonna show you the layout, the land, and you know how to navigate and to get a full concept of the culture. Because I'm not gonna lie though, he keeps telling me about the relax, um, the no pressure, everything is at 1,000 attitude and perspective. He keeps telling me that, and it sounds simple, right? But until you go through that experience, what he said won't get as clearer as it's getting to me every day here in Tanzania. Every day in Tanzania, I'm seeing more and more in what he said as far as the way Tanzanian and this culture is. You know, they're really laid back, stress free, akuna matata, just like it says, in the movie Akuna Matata, like nowhere. It's like it's a laid back culture and it's peaceful here. Um, Genuinely, man, I think this is a great country, man. Tanzania. I haven't been to Kenya yet. Uganda. I haven't been there yet, but I think my brother No Excuse said it's all right too. But Tanzania is cool. I was in South Africa. I was in Joburg. We did link up out there, No Excuse, but it's it's a nice place. They got better, nicer infrastructure as far as roads, but um maybe that might be a plus for you, depending what you're looking for. But here in Tanzania, the infrastructure as far as roads and things of that nature, a few other stuff are not as great. It's not the best, but for me, the upside in the positivity of as far as security, safety, people are cool. You ain't got to be on stress. It's not like you're going to Colombia. You got to worry about getting scoped. That shit right there is like, I mean, that's almost immeasurable. You can't really put a number on it. So for me, that beats a lot out a lot of things. So on the negative things, I can kind of put up with them or get used to them.
Hmm. Okay. So here a lot. So here's
Can I ask a
the
question real quick
thing.
though?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
what do you think was safer, Dar es Salaam or Johannesburg, if you're gonna walk around at night?
Oh, definitely Dar es Salaam safe. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
safety.
true.
If we had to pick a city or country for that matter, I would definitely go with Tanzania for safety wise for sure. I done been to Ethiopia. That shit is not safe. That shit is, what I mean? They don't give a fuck out there. Like, what I mean? Uh so yeah. I haven't been to Kenya or Rwanda, but I heard Rwanda is safe. But yeah, Tanzania, definitely gets the thumbs up for safety. That's important these days. That's very important. I'm gonna talk about we're comparing, but I'm gonna talk about why I like Durban, South Africa, and this is now personality based. You know what I mean? And as you notice, when it comes to travel, guys like Asian countries, some guys like DR, sometimes some guys like Brazil, Colombia, And you know, Flip Flop mentioned this before. You know, I mean, but he didn't really want to get into it, but there are personality traits when it comes to guys that like specific places. You know, maybe one day I'll try to psychoanalyze that. But as far as me, and Tony always, you know, say this. He always say like, you know, you like them you like them you know them modernized chicks or whatever the case may be. But here's why I like South. Here's why I like South Africa. Now I feel comfortable. I feel at home. When I say comfortable, it's not like I want to feel like I'm in the United States. I feel like I can speak my natural English language clearly with at least 50% of the population, right? Not just speak my language, speak my accent, because I have an American accent, right? And somebody understanding my accent without asking me what I said or repeating myself. When you understand a language to the point, when language is so comfortably communicated, I can talk in a soft voice, and a person can understand me. They can pick up on things. I don't have to speak loud and enunciate clearly. You know what I mean? So when I talk to South African women, and I could throw in Kenyan women as well, they have the dialect, the accent. They can pick, you know, their ears can pick up the American accent very well. I could understand their accent is clear. Even it's easier talking to Kenyans and South Africans than it would be somebody from the UK in a lot of instances. So the language that gravitates me towards South Africa, and then obviously the way they turn up, right? So when it comes to nightlife, I like certain music, right? I like certain energy, I like certain dances, etc. So when it comes to South Africa, they got the rhythms and beats that I love. You know, a lot of times too, the reason why I like Durban was because a lot of times there was a large ratio of women to men. I didn't like Johannesburg because there was more men than women. And then weather is obviously an important component as well. And infrastructure, obviously how beautiful the women are and things of that nature. So when I look at Tanzania and Uganda, let's talk about language, right? There is a struggle sometimes with people in Uganda and Tanzania with them understanding my accent and them speaking the level of English that I'm accustomed to, right? So both there are those those challenges in both countries. Now, which one is better as far as English communication for me? Uganda has the edge on that.
Hey, can I
So
say
that's
something real
language.
quick
Yeah,
about
go ahead.
the language speaking in Tanzania? Because I'm about to take a shower real quick. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can kind of be frustrated sometimes. You run into a few people, and I'm saying that moderately because I feel like a good number of people do speak English here, but Tanzanians are not English speakers. That's what you have to remember. But you know, generally, anybody who's semi, even pseudo, even slightly undereducated may have some level of conversational English. Like the Bajaji drivers, you know, I mean, these are not like upper echelon guys, you know. Um, they're very conversational when I get in their ride. They're trying to take me somewhere. It's kind of surprising to me. But at the same time, when I first got here after a couple of days, I thought like, you know, Tanzanians were English speakers until I run into a situation where I'm communicating with somebody, but they were too shy, you know, and that's another thing about this culture, you know, they're shy here a little bit. I feel like some people they're shy. Um, and I guess they're not willing to quick to tell you like, oh, I don't speak English or whatever. They're just like they're not gonna acknowledge that. It seems like there's a reluctance on that part to acknowledge you don't speak English. But you will find a good amount of people can conversate with you, will know some Spanish. You can navigate the land very well, better than when I did going to Colombia as a non-Spanish speaker, but I had learned some Spanish. I didn't know Spanish. Better than that, you will be very comfortable, more comfortable in Colombia not speaking Spanish out here. So it's not the same thing. So it's okay to navigate the land as far as the language. Um, Other than that, people that have some level of education have some decent English to communicate. It's just the pronunciation, the way they pronounce words is a bit
Mhm.
different. You have to get used to it. And everybody kind of have different accents and stuff like that. You have people that speak like fluent English here. Like last night, I don't know if I told Tony this, but I was at Wavuvi. A
Mhm.
brother comes sit right across from me. I think I was telling no excuse that man, his English is flawless, but he even knew like the United States political dynamics and stuff like that, housing markets. I was like, yo, bro, you live in the United States? I'm like, wait. And he was like, oh, I'm an investment banker. He's an investment banker out here. He studied in the UK and he lives out here. So there are some people too that may have like been around tourists a lot. Their Spanish is really, really good because I met this one brother, he a Rasta. I thought he was like a deportee or something. Like he's like, no, he's dealt with a lot of foreigners. He's lived in Cape Town for like 13 years. So in English is good. You'd probably think he's like an American, So there's that part here though. But most people here speak some kind of level of English. You'll be able to be more comfortable as if you went to Colombia without knowing Spanish.
Good take, good take.
No, I got you.
Well, and what he was
No, I
saying
got
though,
you.
some people are shy to tell you they don't know English because it makes them look very uneducated. Because even if you have the most basic education here, you know some English, and it also goes back to what No Excuse was saying. Communication. There is some language barrier, but I mean, guys are looking for America outside of America, and some people are looking for something totally different. So if you need something that's more, I mean, closely resembles America, then go to a place where there's less of a communication barrier. And that's all I gotta say about
Hmm. That's interesting. It's America outside of America. So as a passport, bro, it was always trying to escape the matrix, right? Which is feminism, racism, uh, Me Too, all the stuff, uh, weaponizing family court, child support, alimony. Those are the main elements of the matrix, right? So I feel like it's kind of unfair to say wanting to go to America outside of America, because that's implying that we're cool with, the family court. That's saying like we would go to another country that has the same family court system, that has the same level of feminism, and that's
that. It does
not
have the
that's not
same
really
level.
the, it's not
Well,
really the case.
close. Well, it's not same level, obviously. Nothing. It's not gonna say nothing is the same level because Brazil is the same level pretty much or higher. But there is a large amount of feminism in places like South Africa. Even Nairobi has feminism to some degree, right? It's just higher levels. There's levels to feminism, right? Here it doesn't exist, and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't
Right?
exist.
No, 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 no. You're accurate on that point. On that point, yes, it is. When it comes to Kenya and South Africa, is definitely trending north as far as you know feminism goes. But we have to understand that these are African countries, and men in Africa just don't let women take over. You know what I mean? So it's vastly different being in a gynocracy or feminist society when the country are ran by when we're black, when we're a minority in that system, right? And part of the reason we're uncomfortable with being a minority in America under feminism is because we know that our ancestral land, the leaders in our land, wouldn't go for that. So just by
But they go for it in South Africa. It's like homosexuality. It's in homosexuality.
Hmm. So you think men in South Africa would let Me Too? Well, you think they would let women? You don't think they will have a line until they be like, okay, y'all have gone far enough. You don't.
Bro, I see the video. Like, they're really cool with homosexuality there. So once you get cool with homosexuality, it's just a matter of time. And I'm just saying, and I don't hate homosexuals. It's just I don't like seeing it. That's why I live in a conservative country where you won't see it at all. But you know what I'm saying? With places like that, it's just the building blocks. You got feminism, you got homosexuality. You're just gonna keep going. That's what happened to America, right? It started off low. Then you started having gays that were able to adopt children. That's crazy in parts of the world like this. You know what I'm saying? If you say that, they'd be like, what? It's unfathomable to these people. But that's just me.
No, I mean, valid points. I'm on the mindset of that Asian men, and I hope nobody take offense to this, but this is an observation. Asian men control their women. Middle Eastern men control their women. To a certain degree, Latin men control their women. African men control their women. The only group of men by large numbers that don't control their women is white men. White men don't control their women, whether you can look at it as a positive or negative. And so me saying it is that I just don't see South Africa being, I don't see South African men being like white men as far as not controlling their women, however you want to take it. So I hear what you're saying.
What about when the men are saying they're women and they're starting to get the trans movement and stuff like that, and they're pushing into the women's spaces, and it's just one space. It's just like I said, it just comes down to, and another thing too, I want to say this too, like experience is different because since I've been living in different places, I've started peeping things versus, like he said earlier, like waiting and stuff like that. When I was on vacation, I wasn't seeing all this, until I'm sitting down for 90 days, 120 days, and I'm seeing like things I don't like in a society, things that are mine in America, So it may take you time, you'll sit down someplace after 6 months, you might be like, it's not for me, you know what I mean? So you'll see.
No, that's true. I mean, I'm gonna answer this question. I want to save this question for later. Young Villa, just give me a second. I think he should give a lot of that will take a little longer to answer because I want him to go into depth on that. No, but you definitely make some points. Could it trend that direction? Pablo Frescobar, what up, bro? He said you have to have economic, social, and judicial system to support feminism style in the United States, which is very true. Which is very true. Economic, women have to have equal opportunity. I mean, yeah, women have to have money to even. Feminism is a funded movement. It's funded. That means women have jobs. Women are CEOs. Women are in Congress. Women are in judges. It has to be funded and leveraged through elective offices.
But some dudes expect girls in South Africa to be broke. They're not broke like that, bro. They got money.
They do got money.
They got money. And what does that come with? What'd you say? What they need to have?
Yes. Plenty of chicks in South Africa are very um very stable to the point where you can say it this is very resemblance of the states. South Africa is not really like, well, it doesn't have the greatest economy, obviously, right? Because it's not the United States. But I ran into a lot of chicks be working, got a little corporate job, got their own place, be like 25, beautiful as hell, no kids.
Mm.
So South Africa got some good potential too. But
Yeah.
I guess that may mean that you want a more educated or more modern woman, or woman is a little bit more enlightened. Not that the people here in Tanzania are just like plain stupid and shit, but I don't know. You really have to dig into this culture, because I was having a conversation earlier with a little friend, man, and my little friend that you met, no excuse, and she was breaking like the tribes, the characteristics of different tribes, women that come from certain different tribes. And I think Tony knows about that because he's good on his tribe knowledge, because this brother ain't just sitting here, he actually emerged in the culture. That's what you have to do. And she was breaking some shit down, man. Even to shorty I got right here.
Let me see. Oh, he might have lost connection. Young Villain said, is the LBGT movement larger in West Africa compared to East, or is it equal? Do you want to answer that, Tony?
I mean, I haven't been to West Africa, but from my knowledge, though, it's pretty open in West Africa. I seen a clip from Austin talking about dudes trying to approach him openly in West Africa. So that's a little crazy. You still got old girl over there?
Oh yeah. she uh, she's staying. Yeah, she's staying the night. She's staying the night. Bro,
So,
we're gonna talk, man. I like Shorty, man.
I'm
Hey,
glad. I'm happy for you, brother. I'm happy
hey,
for
let
you.
me
Enjoy
be a
your
simp
week.
real quick. Let me be a simp real quick, okay?
Hey, man,
Let me
enjoy.
live
Yo,
in my scent
look.
bag. Let me get my scent bag real quick.
There's nothing wrong with treating a feminine, submissive woman well. You know what I'm saying? Andrew Tate says it, right? You know what I'm saying? She
Mm,
does her job, you do your job, right? So provision
see,
and
it,
bro.
protection. Provision
let
Go
me
and
ahead.
say
protection.
something before. Let me say something before I forget. Here's what I think about the alphabet community, or the alphabet movement. I don't tie it to feminism, but I look at that as emasculate. It. I feel like it emasculates highly testosterone men, or male dominant societies. It emasculates them. It's yeah. It emasculates. It can emasculate men, and some may not like that notion, but that's what a lot of masculine men see, um, with the increase of LBGT culture. And so when you have a more effeminate, emasculine culture, that means that you open yourself to be conquered by masculine men. You know, you know what I mean. So Andrew Tate talks about this as well. Like, you want to defeat an army, emasculate the men. Masculine men they want to take over. You know what I mean, with no mercy. When you emasculate men, you get men that are a little bit more passive, men that are more forgiving, men that are not aggressive, men that are not on the offensive. And so if South Africa is going that direction, I mean, and you have masculine cultures like Nigerians. I mean, some would probably accredit Nigerians' success, prowess, whatever adjectives you want to use in South Africa is because the men are not matching their energy, so to speak. So I'm trying to parse my
I
words.
don't think it's that though, respectfully, my brother. based
Okay.
on the conversation I had today. What? Man, sure to give me an encyclopedia of these tribes. It's crazy, man. Like me and Tony, we gonna have to sit down and talk about this. We want to flesh this out. She was saying, "Ooh, I'm telling you." And look, she'll tell me like her tribe, they train from the time they get their first their cycle. Literally, her in her area, a girl cannot walk around without her head covered. She's not Muslim, and you got to wear a large dress. You can be showing your shape because she said she left Dar and went over there. She was wearing little spandex, showing her shape because she thick, and somebody was forcing out her color, and her grandmother's like, "What you doing? Come in here! Like, come back in here!" What? They're trained in her tribe. She told me all this shit about like different other tribes, like women that are like their characteristics, and then the ones that are like gold digging type. These kind of tribes, women that are from those tribes. I'm not sure it's not absolute. Um, but it's I think it's not just the men didn't do something or don't do enough or something. I don't think so. I think it's a culture because we talk about it. And me and Tony, my brother, but I done give him plenty of pushback because Tony's really strong, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's strong. He 100. He stated on business. But I like to be updating my information to relate to the modern world we're living in. You know what I'm saying? But she was to tell me she grew up over here, in Dar, and when her mom find out, like at 13, was it 13? Whenever she got her cycle, the woman, they will teach you everything. From that time, you stay inside for 14 days. I think 14 days. They will show you everything. And some of it is not really appropriate for children to be learning. So we were talking about all that because obviously if I have a daughter, I'm not gonna be doing that.
Hey, G, real quick, I want Tony to answer this question before I get lost in the chat.
Go ahead,
Then
bro.
you can continue. Can you answer the question why you chose Tanzania over Kenya, SA, and Uganda?
It was the least Western. Simple answer. Simple answer. That's it. It was the least Western. It was the least Western. That's why I picked it. What up, Gooch?
What's up, play? What's going on, man?
Shit,
What up? What
chilling.
up?
Chilling, man. Grinding.
Okay, were you able to listen in, or you just tuning in?
Oh no, I just jumped straight in. I got to do what I was doing. I jumped straight in. What's up? Catch me up. What's going on?
Oh man, we just talking about these countries, man. Uganda, Tanzania, and throwing in a little South Africa too.
All right. Hey man, honestly, I was kind of surprised how much you like you bonded so much, Kampala. Because me and Tony, we didn't have the best experience there.
Even
And
Travelversity did. Travelversity didn't like
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I was shocked. You was having a good time. I mean, I was happy for you. But I was just
But you
shocked.
was
I'm
only
like,
there
man, that's
5
not
days. 5
you.
days.
You
I
made
had fun my first 5 days. You know what I'm saying?
all right.
It was like after the first 10, I was ready to dip. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying too. Is the longer you have in the place, like I mean,
I
Colombia
think
is
the
cool
problem.
for 3 days. Huh?
Yeah, I think the problem we would have with me. I had a huge Airbnb right next to the mall. It was nice. It was huge, but my power kept going out. I think that's what
Mm.
kind of tripped me up a little bit. And then I had insect. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of like slowed me up. But then my last day there, I told you my last day there, I realized by the airport, bro, was way better than Kampala. I'm talking about the
It's heavy,
clubs.
yeah.
I'm talking about
Heavy.
the qual. I mean, it was like I figured out my last day though. So I was like, man. So I'm glad you learned from my experience and you had more time up there than me. But next time I go, I'll probably go again now. But I'll probably make sure I hang out more by the airport the majority of the time.
Yeah, that's the best area. I mean, I didn't enjoy myself in Kampala. I mean, I stayed by the mall too, and obviously I pipeline well, so I had a lot of enough lovely ladies that showed me around and kept me company and things like that. If I didn't pipeline and just showed up, I probably wouldn't have had the experience. And then shout out to brother O'Shea that's there. Obviously he lives there and he's
All
well
right.
connected, and he'll hook a brother up. He'll hook a brother up. But like you said, by the airport, if anybody goes to Uganda, Entebbe is better. They have beaches out there.
Yeah,
The
fine.
vibe is different. It's cleaner, and there are attractive women. That was just a point I wanted to just prove. Is like there are a lot of attractive women in Kampala. You know what I mean? Now, once you go to TZ, it's going to be on a different level, but you know what I mean? There are baddies in Uganda, you know.
Yeah.
Young Billy
TZ.
got a question for you, GMT.
All right, give me a brief comparison of Tanzania and Uganda. Well, it was kind of hard to compare because I would say from my experience, Uganda is gonna be a lot more available like non-pros and a lot more like Tinder was lit. In Dar es Salaam, I mean, I haven't been there as long as Tony, but most of the club was full with like pros. And if you want anything outside of that, you have to like it takes like time and effort in Tanzania. It takes more effort. It takes more time to get a non-pro in Tanzania. In Uganda, they're more available to non-pros. They're more available, you know. And you can find different complexions, but you know, it can be a little bit more dark skin in Uganda. They're both thick in both places, but I would give Tanzania like on the level as like South Africa. They may be like right behind South Africa. And South Africa is number one on thickness, but I would give Tanzania a strong number two and Uganda a strong number three. So they're all up there together, but I would still give SA number one on that. But yeah, what else you want
Facts.
Pacific? Just let me know. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you can like
Mr.
how
G.
yeah. But you can find
Go ahead,
anything
go ahead.
No,
anywhere
I was
though.
just saying facts. He's correct. TZ is right under SA as far as the thickness, but the more and more, you stay around and see, you're like, I don't know.
I don't
TZ
know
go
either, bro.
hard.
I, I might,
TZ go dumb.
I could give I might, man, those who's privy to certain content behind the scenes, man. TZ, SA got they got it, but TZ got, like I said, they have a certain phenotype, bro. And I call it poke out, man. They got that poke out, bro. And man, them leg, man. It is, man. They can go next. That's why I said I gotta visit more cities in TZ because they might give SA the run for his money. I'm gonna be in Zululand, Durban. So Durban, that is you know what
That's
that
my spot.
is.
That's my spot.
So I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks after I leave here. That's gonna be like, the nail in the coffin, man. Seeing, just being there, going through the townships, man. But TZ, like you said, I give SA the edge for now, but TZ might, they might got some, man. Hopefully you check out Arusha, man. Tony, you still going to Arusha?
Yeah, but I've been there before, but this time I'm just gonna go there without like a specified leave date. Last time I went, it was for a safari.
So what can you tell us about Arusha, man? Like
Cooler temperature. They have shoppers as well. They got a shoppers in Arusha, so you can still. There's not as many hotels as Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam's way bigger, obviously. What else can I tell you guys about Arusha? It's going to be a little different culturally. People there are. It's the two tribes are going to be the Chaga and the Maasai in Arusha. And you guys.
You talk about the Mchungas?
No. The Chaga.
Chaga? What's your
Chaga.
tribe, mama?
Trade them in.
Chunga? Muchaga. Mchaga.
Okay, she's something else.
Yeah, she's from Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, so she's from the Arusha area because Kilimanjaro,
Mm-hmm.
Arusha,
She's from Arusha.
yeah, they're all next to each other. All that shit's really connected. So I'm gonna do like a week or 2 weeks there, and I'm gonna see how it is compared to Dar es Salaam, chilling there. But I don't think I'll be interested in living there though. think so.
Well, I will say this though. I have noticed that there's less deodorant used in TZ than Uganda.
Yes, because
God damn, dog.
no, but deodorant was created, like I told him, it was created in Philadelphia, so they don't have access to a lot of Western stuff. It's like saying, you know, like Lucky Charms and shit like that. They don't really know about all that stuff.
Oh, okay. No, knock to TZ. You know, it's a culture.
No, it's even Uganda, Kenya. A lot of people don't know about deodorant, but that's not to say their hygiene is bad. They take care of themselves. Right. As far as like using the bathroom, they're cleaner than us. They make sure they have, you know, the spray. They spray themselves. I've never come across a disgusting smelling person, you know. So as far as hygiene, they do take care of themselves. It's just they don't, unless if you tell them about deodorant. Most people don't use deodorant.
That's a good point you just made. I've been wanting to say that. I've been wanting to remember to say this. There's a lot of countries that have hygiene better than us in the United States.
Oh, shit.
Way better hygiene. Let's see. Young Villain said Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Zanzibar. Which is the best for? When you say night game, do you mean nightlife, or I'm not sure what you mean by night game? If you want to answer that, Tony.
I think he's talking about nightlife. So it's going to be Dar es Salaam. Anything for nightlife around here is going to be just Dar es Salaam for Tanzania. And I also put Dar es Salaam nightlife over Kampala because Kampala has a lot of Irish pubs, so a lot of their music could be Euro type music in those places. And I don't.
Yeah, when I was in Zanzibar, man, it was real dry. I didn't do a whole lot because I had somebody with me, but when I was in Zanzibar, it was real touristy. It seemed like a place you would take somebody with you, take a chick with you, and just enjoy it. But I don't see you like really going to Zanzibar to meet somebody or like to the club and stuff. You know, it's not really like made for that.
Yeah. So I mean, would y'all tell people? I guess kind of getting my report on Uganda. Would y'all tell people not to visit Uganda?
No, I recommend it. I recommend going to Uganda. I recommend Uganda over Johannesburg, Kampala over Johannesburg. It's so dangerous there, bro. That's just no joke. Yo, people need to know how dangerous.
Hey, but
I would too, though. To be honest, I would too.
But I'm saying, not everybody is like, because people think like, oh man, I'm from O Block, you know, I throw hands, you know what I'm saying? But not everybody from O Block, you know what I'm saying? There's some soft dudes watching this stuff. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's a tough guy. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. For me, I would just try to figure out the kind of person you are, and then recommend the best place for you. Because Africa, these countries are like completely different. So your personality might like Kampala more. Your personality might like TZ more. Somebody might like SA more or Kenya more. It just depends on you and what you like, and you know what you're into. You know, so I would say at least check out 3 different countries in Africa and pick for yourself.
I agree.
That's very true.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I don't know. Do you guys do consultations by any chance? Because I think that when guys wanna get good and a great opinion, like we kind of would like to assess your personality a little bit, you know. Because like I said, I do feel like his personality traits tied to a lot of these countries. I'm gonna say, can you compare Nairobi and Dar es Salaam? Any of you guys want to compare Nairobi and Dar es Salaam for a short stay?
You can go nightlife.
Nightlife shit. Well, I would say Nairobi's gonna be a more mix of like different kind of clubs, different things, the different like pockets of this, pockets of that. Dar es Salaam is like most of everything's in one area. You can compare like Dar es Salaam to Mombasa, so it'll be really similar, but Dar es Salaam is probably a little bit better. But the nightlife in Dar es Salaam will be mostly like pros in one area, which is cool if you're into that. It'll be slow during the week. Nairobi's a lot of different stuff going on all week, different like, you know. So I would try both of them, you know. So Dar es Salaam is more like a beach area, quiet during the week, lit during the weekend. Nairobi just got everything. Just depends what you want if you can find it, you know.
He's the nightlife expert. I gotta ask him. Yo, you do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
I got a question for I got a question for all three of y'all. I know Mr. G. Gonna wanna. I know he's gonna have something to say about this. I want. Let me see. I want to go first. I want Tony, then GMT, and then Mr. G to answer this question. Compare Austin's Holloman's assessment of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania versus yours.
to be honest, I don't watch it. I don't watch content. I just see clips, and it's no offense to it. I just know I've been living overseas longer than him, so you know, and so that's just for me. You know what I mean? And not that I mean for the people who haven't lived overseas, it might be good information, but for me, it's not. But he's cool dude though. But yeah, so what is this?
True. Well, I would say Kenya, he's probably on the money in Kenya, but in Kenya, you know, we hung out a little bit in Kenya. He's pretty popular in Kenya, so he gets Nairobi from like a popular point of view. When he's in Nairobi, he goes to clubs, non-pros talk to him, people want to meet him. People like, oh, that's Austin. So he gets treated like like extra, like better than Norman in Nairobi. So, you know, but yeah, he's pretty right in Nairobi. And in Kampala, he didn't really talk about the women. If you notice, he really focused more on like the tourist attractions. I didn't really see him talk about like nightlife or anything. He really focused more on like tourism and all that. In Tanzania, I didn't really. In Tanzania, I think he's paying with the same people every night in Tanzania and stuff. And I would say we pretty got the same opinions. Maybe besides like Tanzania, because I think in Tanzania he had like non-pros and like a group of people he was hanging with the whole time. But like everywhere else, I say it's pretty much the same. And Uganda, he really didn't. If you pay attention to Uganda, he didn't really say anything on the like women. It was most like tourism.
Right. Mr. G, you still there? He might be.
What was the question again? No, I'm almost off, but not yet.
No, I said, how would you compare Austin Holloman's assessment on the countries you've been to that he's been to? So I guess Tanzania would be the only one.
I guess it would be TZ because I don't think he's been to South Africa. I don't think like the brother said, he gave a good description. I mean, I guess he was kind of like to himself. I guess he wasn't showing really the general interaction with, you know, like real life interaction with people. I don't know. I guess even with the club scenes, did he go to the clubs or anything? Did he show any other? I don't think so. So you know, you can't come here and not cover the clubs because these are the biggest thing popping. I mean, you know, like my brother Tony, he's not a top person that go out top of, you know, and if and when I move out here, I'm not gonna be doing that myself. But my first time, I checked that out. You can't be here the first time and not check that out and have any report or point of view on that. You cannot. So I mean, he probably dealt with some. If that's the case, then he most likely dealt with some. I don't know. It could have been pros because you're gonna go on Tinder. Tinder's is a cesspool of pros, and I know his game is really like I guess dating apps like a lot of people do. I mean, sure, we all have done it. But I don't know if they were pros or not. But you cannot come here and not cover the club. So I don't know if he had like a real good assessment, a realistic assessment on what the ground really is like. You cannot come here and not go to Wavuvi. It's like one of the biggest club here, man. You saw it last night. No excuse. And old girl was like, man, just the night she was following the page. It was like crazy.
Now,
I don't agree with
his
him.
assessment on Uganda, from what I heard, well, the things that I watched, you know, he really didn't give he really didn't give really any props for Ugandan women. I mean, he did give them an edge over was it Zambia he went to that he didn't like. But he really didn't have a lot of positive things to say about the women in Uganda. But like I said, Uganda deserves more credit as far as attractive women, at least far as what I've seen, you know, and being around, you know, people that's been in Uganda for a minute. TZ, I know he talked about a lot of women wasn't like showing choosing signals. I can kind of see why he said that. I went to this one restaurant that he like really raved about. And he was like the chicken was so good. And I went today. That shit was trash. So I was a little I had a little opinion on you know, a different opinion on this. I guess this place he went to eat, man. But still, again, he really didn't really give as high praise for Tanzania women like he does Kenya. You know, and I haven't been to Kenya, but I got a feeling that Tanzania women are more attractive than Kenya women over on average.
But
You
I
know,
can tell you,
so
in Kenya for him or just Kenya in general, people who love Kenya, it's the all around. It's not just like the women, you know how they look. People who like Kenya, it's like a vibe. It's like their energy. It's the environment,
right.
and the people who like non-pros and somebody like him who's popular online, they were just walking up to him and talking to him. You don't got to do anything in Kenya, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big difference too, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's all based on your own personality, you know. Because I feel like if you want a non-pro in Tanzania, you got to go a little harder. And for us, I don't Uganda for me, you got to know where to go at to find a decent chicks. You probably found that area better than us, but I couldn't find it when I was there. You
Well,
know what
what
I'm
do
saying?
you
I
mean
think,
by non-pro?
huh?
What do you mean by non-pro? Because G's with the girl he met at the
That's
supermarket
true.
right now. So
Oh yeah. I
you
mean,
just have to talk to women. If you're able
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
ask a girl directly for her number, then
Got
cool.
you, got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
If
I
you're
was.
only like this, then no,
Yeah, I was
you're
kind
not.
of just using Tinder and going to clubs or whatever, and it was like for me. I mean, for me personally, I mean, it took me a while to find like a non-pro. You know what I'm saying? They probably a lot out there. I mean, I like how you were saying the ones I found, they were kind of playing around or whatever. They were like playing like hit miss, you know, with the non. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it went for me. But
Yeah,
I
and
know they
that
probably.
and
Uh,
yeah, that dating app. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. But that dating app game, I don't know. It's
Somebody
maybe
moved
on
in there.
Bumble.
Hold on.
Maybe if you're on Bumble, but Tinder is like it's just all pros and the clubs too. I mean, there's some pros, so you can kind of still do your thing if you're trying to, play that field. I'm the pro field a little bit. Get your negotiation on or whatever if that's your thing or whatnot. But you have to get out there in the general public and not be like, oh, I want choosing signal. I'm just waiting for people to just run out and look at me and give me a little eye or some shit like that. I mean, I'm not gonna get into that, but I know that's the young man's game. But in Africa, period, I don't think in that whole choosing signal thing, that's a
Cl-
modern world where women are very free and they choosing and then it's not really that here in Africa. You have to be a little bit aggressive and do some manly things, which
Yeah.
is, say hi, how you doing? Can I get a minute? And as long as you say that, they're gonna stop and talk and and it's you're gonna get to know them and then you can go from there, and it may be a pro, may not be a pro, because you can still meet a pro in the streets too. Don't get me wrong now.
Humble student got something to say about TZ, man. He's saying it's not for us. The people, along with the government, make it obvious they don't want us here. I would say I wanted to slap the shit out of a. I gotta be careful on YouTube. All right. I was very irritable. I was coming in Uganda. I was coming in TZ, and this guy appeared to be of Indian descent. Just jumped in front of me to go to an officer. Now I had to just humble myself because I'm in another country. But I wanted to go off. And I'm just like, I don't know if he think I'm African, like, I don't know who he think he is, but I wanted to just gravely check him, But that's
What happened? Somebody,
that's
he
another
said he
story.
skipped you in the line.
Yeah, he just like cut in front of me. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or something or
Yeah,
whatever it could
that
be.
happened to me in South Africa too. Coming here, I was flying to Kenya to come to TZ. It happens. It was a black dude. I mean, he just went straight. He's like, "Excuse me, excuse me." I'm like, I thought he was like with somebody up there in the front. Like I don't know, maybe his kids, his mother, his wife, or something like that. He just like skipped the line. I'm like, bro.
That's the
And then he
only
went
thing
up
I
there.
miss.
He took a lifetime to check in. I'm like, man, if y'all don't come the fuck on. And then I told the lady that she had like a teasy reaction where she was just cheer. She was like, whatever, because I was like hella frustrated in the line, So I tell the counter lady that I'm like, man, this guy done skip us. Then he got up here, took a lifetime to check in, man. Like, what the heck is going on? She just
That's
like,
the only.
whatever.
Why don't we pull
That's the
up?
one thing I miss about being in the U.S. is that I want to cuss a motherfucker out. I will cuss a motherfucker out in my country so fast, so fast. Whew. That I gotta hold myself back, man. Sometimes, man, but
Yeah, Africa, it'll beat your ass.
they be like, and what you gonna do about it?
Yeah, they'll beat your ass. And they'll lock you up. They'll beat your ass and they'll lock you up. You'll be sick.
Welcome to my country, motherfucker.
They humble people in these countries. You know what I'm saying? They humble people.
I got one last question, man, and we're gonna wrap it up, man. Hold on, let me read this comment real quick. He said I had to check Indians. I checked their ass though. I had to check many Indians, Arabs for cutting in front of older Tanzanians while at stores and markets. Yeah, somebody gonna get an American awakening. They're gonna be like, oh, this nigga not from here.
Tanzanians don't even give a fuck if you cut them most of the time. They be in La La Land. That's what I'm saying. It's a cool they be like,
And that's the frustrating. That's the frustrating part too. Because I guess you can't be too. Okay, it's just you gotta activate your dumb mode, I guess, because like Tony be telling me, he just say, "Hey, man, Hakuna Matata, man." Other than that, because it's a chill place, but it's weird though because you kind of have to like turn off your brain a little bit. But I don't know, man, because I be ready to snap on some white people over here, man. I'm like, hey, look, I ain't one of them now. I ain't one of them now. No, I'm not one of them now.
Real chill.
I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna get a shirt with an American passport picture, so they
don't get worked up. That's why they don't let things bother them like that. You'd be hard pressed to get into a Tanzanian for the most part to get in an altercation with a Tanzanian. But most of them.
He said they be my man.
Yeah,
that's true though.
There are.
Hakuna Matata. No.
Oh man. So your last question, man. I'm gonna start with G, then GMT, and then Tony, man. I just want to focus on the cons, man. Give me cons for Uganda and Tanzania. I'll start with you, Mr. G. You give me cons for not cons, I mean pros. Give me pros. Give me the pros for Tanzania, Mr. G.
Tanzania. Oh man, they're pretty as shit. They're thick as hell. You see them, and when you go to the club, you see them everywhere. You see a lot of them. They're beautiful. Everything's in one area. It's centralized. The nightlife, everything's in one area. The beach, a lot of beach bars, the main strip, the good restaurants is all in that one little area. So that's what I enjoy the most about Tanzania.
Okay. What about cons for Uganda? I mean, I'm sorry, pros for Uganda. Pros.
Pros, I would say, um, Uganda. I like the women personality. They were kind of like they were really feminine, and there's really a lot of them, a lot,
Mm.
and they're thick and they're cool. It's a lot. You trust me, you'll have enough. It's a whole lot in Uganda. A lot of women.
Okay. Mr. G, give me your pros for Tanzania. Mr. G.
He booed up right now, yo. He just
Oh
came
my
out.
bad. No, I was watching something. Hold on a second, babe. Yeah. Pros. I mean, they're not westernized. I mean, I'm sure Tony have gone over that. Um, they're chill, lay back, no pressure. Um, obviously, safety is a great thing. Uh, you,
Mm.
you can't put a price on that. Um, it has potential, man. Like if you want to do business here, I think there's some potential. I think it's open to foreigners. Last night, old girl was telling me about the owner of Wavuvi. He got like three big clubs. This Italian guy, and like they are developing around the beach area. So there's some investment opportunities here. But obviously, that would be some pretty heavy money. I mean, over there. But there's other opportunities, other places too. But if you were interested in can come up with a product or service, hey, in that area too. So that's a hot thing. Cons the infrastructure. I think the roads,
No.
man.
Just pros. Just pros. We just talking about
Just
pros. We
pros.
just talking about pros.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pros.
Well, pros is just that, man. I mean, and it's an authentic culture with lots of um lots of variety. In the culture, it's diverse. It's a diverse culture within the culture itself, right? Like each Tanzanian different tribes got different characteristics. Um, Different region got different characteristics. It is a beautiful country, and I think it's a big country too. Um, when you look up on the map, you see, the size of it. So there's so much to explore here. I think it's untapped. If people are willing to take a little risk, as far as like shock values, as far as culture shock, as like, you know, I mean, it's not like really nothing crazy. I mean, this is a fairly, you know, I wouldn't say third super third world country. Just got its issues, but you got lots of potential, man. Lots of pros. Just minor cons.
Okay. Tony, pros for Uganda and Tanzania.
And I'm gonna be out, man. Oh, y'all be easy.
All right,
All
man.
right,
Enjoy
peace
your
out.
time, man. See you. Um, I would say the family oriented aspect of it is pro for me. Conservative countries, it's a pro for me. What else would I say about those countries? Yes, and then for Tanzania, I would say the lack of feminism is a real pro for me,
Mhm.
and the lack of westernization. It's another pro for me. That's it.
Okay. I would say for me, for Tanzania, I would say the pros is great food, a lot of good restaurants. Um, Cheap transportation is cheap. That's a pro. I would say great beaches. They got Zanzibar. I haven't went to any mainland beaches yet, but obviously you can find a nice beach in Tanzania. There's a low social media influence. I think that's a pro. I mean, safety that's definitely a pro, especially for the continent of Africa. And then I would say nice bodies. I mean, that's a pro. I mean, that is they're arguably in the top two right now, in my opinion, as far as like physique. That's Tanzania. Now Uganda, I would say the pros is that um, they have a laid back. It's a laid back culture. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of catering to tourism, and so you get less of a local, you get more of a local vibe overall when it comes to Uganda. Great weather in Uganda, surprisingly, is pretty mild, not too hot, not too cold. Cheap as well. Transportation cheap, but I will say, housing seems to be good. Housing seems to be a little pricey in Uganda. But the things I loved the most was the beaches in Uganda. Let me try to bring Tony back up. Yeah, I love the beaches in Uganda, the weather. Women were the pros. Women are way more, friendlier in Uganda, way more friendlier than Tanzania women, even though TZ women are very, soft-spoken, nice, feminine, but Ugandan women, you'll meet more Ugandan women than you would Tanzanian women.
Damn.
In general, though. So hopefully I haven't missed out anything, but that's all I got. Let me see what comments is left out there before we cut out. Let's see. It's a back and forth. Diego said beaches in Uganda. Yeah, so they have a lake. So I mentioned earlier about there's a lake in Uganda, so just like there's a Lake Michigan, there's beaches in Chicago, there's beaches in Milwaukee, right on Lake Michigan. So lakes have beaches as well as oceans too. So they have beaches in Uganda. Entebbe is by the lake. That's where the airport is. So they have beaches in Uganda. I didn't know either until I seen it for myself. But yeah, there you have it, man. GMT, let people know where they can find you on social media. Also, you, Traveling Tony. All right, unmute yourself, brother.
Oh yeah, you can find me on YouTube, GMT Travels, and Instagram, GMT Travel Life. And yeah, man, hit me up whenever I'm traveling. I travel half the year. I'm working now, but I'll start traveling July to the end of next year. So holler at me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm gonna put their channels in the description as soon as the stream ends as well.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, yeah, you can find me
Yeah.
on YouTube, Traveling Tony, and same thing on Instagram, Traveling Tony. That's it. Catch me live. I live in Tanzania, and I'll be working with No Excuse.
Yeah, I'm about to link with Tony in a minute, man. So hopefully y'all appreciate this stream. Please like, share, and subscribe, leave the comments. And I'll check back with y'all next Sunday, Afro Sundays, when I'm back in South Africa. Durban. Peace out.